that we see, and they don't have these things. So we call ourselves blessed to have a dad like him. I'll talk about Dad the friend. Much as we were his kids, Daddy was our friend. He was our pal. We could talk and tell him anything that we wanted to tell him. He could tell us things that he thought. Me as the firstborn, he would come and say, I have noticed this about Sandra. I've noticed this about Brenda. I've noticed this about Loretta. I've noticed this about Sam. I've noticed this about Rita. Can you please go and talk to them? You know, you millennials, you know, you have a way in which you speak to one another. And he used to call me head girl. So I spoke to my siblings about anything that was of concern to Daddy. But he never ever said it in a way that was judgmental, that was angry. He did not have an angry spirit. He did not have any dot of jealousy in him. He did not, I sometimes think he was just something else I cannot describe. All my friends think they are his favorites. All our friends think they are his favorites. The other day, 3 of my friends came. One, my cousin and friend, Patricia Kinoka, Moses Mugara and his wife, Member Mugara. They came to pick me up. And then when we got home, they were arguing about how they are Daddy's favorites. And Patricia said, no, me, I know I'm his favorite. Maybe was like, you don't even know what I am talking about. So they were all arguing. Then I just said, listen, ladies, whenever you are in front of Daddy, at that point in time, you are his favorite. He will give you all the time, all the attention. He will make you will go knowing that you're the one. But that's how he treated all of us. The other day, they were telling us that our house help in Entebbe was telling us that there were people from the market, mechanics, border people, all coming to express their condolences. It didn't matter where you're from, like Uncle Ovo said, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Catholic, whether you're born again, whether you're from which part of the world you are, a friend was a friend. And that was one thing that Daddy taught us, all of us growing up, about the importance of honoring and respecting friends. So a friend of one of us is a friend of the whole family, and that's the rule. My friends, I'm not here, but my friends always check on my parents. Our friends invite them for weddings. Our friends invite them for christening their children without even us knowing. We thank you, Mommy and Daddy, for all that you have been to us. I will also speak about Sir Chris the sportsman. Daddy was my badminton coach. He was very good at it, and he made me very good at it. He coached me till I was seed 1 in Uganda. I remember one time we had a tournament, and I was walking hand in hand with him. And one of the Uganda Badminton Association leaders called him to the side and he said, but honestly, Mr. Kahirita, this girl is fit enough to be your daughter. Why? And Daddy laughed and said, no. Don't worry about it. So this gentleman actually thought there was something fishy happening. So when it was time to get our trophies, and I was called in as Anita Kahirita to go and get a trophy, this man, I could see the gentleman swelling with anger because he thought Daddy had led him on to something that was not true. And then when we were going, he said, You see, that's why I keep on telling you, it's not good to come to conclusions about things that you do not know. And like Uncle said, he's not a person who likes to backbite anyone. He's not a person who likes to speak ill about anyone. I want to speak about Daddy the gentleman. Daddy taught us how to speak well, how to speak respectfully. He was a diplomat. He respected people. If he had a privilege and someone didn't and he thought the person deserved it, he would forego what he had for the other person. He was just noble. His character was noble. And lastly, I want to speak about Daddy as our superhero. Superheroes are not only those that we see on TV flying and doing magic and whatever they do, like Superman. Daddy was our superhero. He was our Superman. Everywhere we needed him, he would be there. He was the first one. He was the first one. He offered us counsel. He offered us comfort. He loved us. He said to us everything will be okay, even when we thought it wouldn't. And for that reason, he was our superhero. Sir Christopher, I honor you. I honor you and the life you led. A person of integrity. We know that your work here on earth was over, you're done. I pray that my siblings and I will keep your legacy burning, that we shall emulate every little good principle that we learned from you, that we shall continue to walk with our heads held up, knowing that you did not leave us to deal with life that is shameful. And we celebrate you today. We are crying, but we are crying tears of joy because of the things that people are saying about you and how awesome you were. God also loves awesome people. We pray that you will rest with him, that you will sing and dance with the angels. I know right now you and Uncle Daud and Auntie Hope are cracking and laughing. May God continue to hold you. And may God continue to hold us as family and friends, to continue to support one another. And I pray and I ask, I urge that we all keep mindful of the pandemic around us and live responsibly. God does his work, but there are some things that God cannot do for you. God cannot put a mask on your face. God cannot wash your hands. God cannot social distance. But he gives us wisdom. May he God continue to give us wisdom to do the right thing, because there is a very common saying that says, do your part and God will do the rest. May God bless you. Thank you so much for coming, because we know that it's not a difficult time, but we shall continue to rejoice. And even when we cry, we will cry not like those who are hopeless, but those who have a faith that's unfailing, knowing that our God of grace is holding us in his able hands. God bless you all and thank you.
I'm going to start with some quick messages. This is from the National Organization of Trade Unions. This is to express our sincere condolences to the family of Brother Christopher on behalf of Koftu and Notu. We join in celebrating the life of our hero. His death has been His death has deprived us of a very committed senior trade unionist who will work hard, a very hard-working, trusted cadre of the labor movement, with other leaders fought and liberated the NSSF from scandals. We know his charisma and dynamism will forever remain in our memory to keep the labor torch in Uganda burning. As we as workers have contributed to help the family, 2 million shillings. We have also, as NOTU, requested the NSSF to contribute to the barrier arrangements. The management of NSSF has contributed 5 million. We are in touch with Mr. Muhozi on behalf of the family. May the soul of our brother rest in perfect peace. Chairman General, Mr. Wilson Owere. We have a message from his brother-in-law, who could not make it, Mr. John Maridadi and his family. Our family, I have no words. Death has again robbed us of another loved person, Mr. Kahirita. May the good God grant him eternal rest and peace, and he may provide the very much needed strength and solace to us, relatives, friends, at this time of loss. More sad to me is a failure to say bye-bye to those I have loved. Very truly, no one except God knows our time of departure. I have always thought if the departed loved ones will even for a minute let us know all is well on the other side, that would greatly soothe the pain, but I guess in the absence of that, that remains life's greatest mystery which only the Creator can answer. From Mr. George Maridadi and family. For me in particular, this whole thing has been almost like a dream that we are all not about to wake up from. Daddy has been sick for like a week, but during that week he was still very much alive. He was asking about all his friends. There are very many unsung heroes in this story. Our Entebbe community, you people were there calling me every day, almost every 2 hours. The St. John's Church community and all our neighbors, we thank you very much. I hope you get this message somehow. I would also like to thank all the people who have been coordinating this thing from wherever they were. We are this whole thing was really global. When you look at all the people who are dealing with this at the same time and who are still doing, they are still online now looking for coordinating money, coordinating help in many other ways. Julie, Mark, our aunties, Auntie Dora, Auntie Enid, Vidna, Captain Bagamba, Nick who got us passes, Migayos, our neighbors, the trade unionists, even those who are in the background helping, like our cousins Uhuru, Sima, who are taking minutes at every meeting, Uncle Richard, who is, I don't even know where he is, but it seems like he's here. I suspect he could be in Nairobi or somewhere like that. Martin, Uncle Martin, I hope you get well soon. Thank you all, you people. I know you're online now, but someone really needs to thank you for all that we've done. Our cousins in the diaspora, and everybody who has helped us. Our doctors, I can't thank you people enough. Our professional friends at our workplaces, at URA, Rita's friends, Charles's friends, the clergy, our drivers. I don't want to name you by one by another, but we remember all of you. Ambulance drivers who still check on us up to now, because even when Daddy was in a tough state, he was still trying to talk to those people, and somehow he struck a nerve with them, and up to now they still call me. Some of them are still in disbelief. When I went to pick these girls from the airport, the counter-terrorism policemen stopped me. Of course, they knew me, so they agreed, because Daddy was always picking people. Whether it was late at night, it doesn't matter. But the counter-terror police who were at the check-in point, they saw the flowers I had inside, and they started fearing to talk to me. Because Then one of them gathered the guts and came in front and said, "You man, don't tell me Mzee has died." So I told him, well, yes, Mzee has been sick for a while and he didn't make it. And these two ladies, you'll find two ladies at the metal detector. They just broke down and started crying. And I had to stay there and comfort them. Other people there were lines forming. So I didn't know what to do. That's how far his reach was. It was immeasurable. It didn't matter where you went. There was one thing. People liked him. People respected him because of the example he always showed them. There are so many people. We'll have more opportunities to talk about these things probably ahead in more memorials and other things. But I really just want to thank everyone. Because in these times that are really tough, there is no way you can do this sort of thing without help. How people manage these things, I don't know. Our siblings, our cousins, people we did not even know. There are people who would call me and tell me, look, we're at church. Sorry, we're at school on visitation day. And our parents missed and your dad called us to eat. He didn't even know us, he didn't know, but here is 100,000, here is 50,000. We are trying to compile all of you, but it's an almost impossible task. But we thank all of you. We thank all of you. I would like to thank my siblings for staying strong, for coming all the way, for enduring layovers because of Corona and flights. Thank you all very much. Yeah, I'm going to try and be very fast because we are running short of time and we have to follow the rules. Thank you to our other parents, Uncle Obo, the Migayos, our neighbors, the general community of Entebbe, Uncle Stephen, who was with me when I was at the hospital, getting daddy, Captain Wagamba, Kato, my brother, were there. Thank you all for standing with us. Most importantly, I would like to thank our mother, who, people think I'm tough, but really, I just have better self-control. But Mommy is actually tough, because I don't know what would happen if I was married to someone like Daddy, who shows exemplary husbandship. I can count the number of times Daddy didn't stay at home, and it was for a critical reason. Many times I told him to stop wasting taxpayers' money, because you go on workshops, they pay for you a room, there's a car, instead you come back home and stay there. Even if it's in Ginger, you stay with Mommy, you watch TV, you gossip, then you go and sleep. Then the next morning you have to wake up at 5 to go back to where you are. So I was telling him, this country is poor. You should stop. You tell them not to book for you hotels. If you're a very faithful husband, you stay home and you leave at 5 and come back at 5 in the morning. But that was the kind of person he was. He was very loyal, especially to his friends. Would give his last cent, even if it meant, actually more than his last cent, as Uncle Obo said. If it meant he knew that I had 10,000, he would say, you know what, I need 10,000. But there are many times from his face that I could tell that it's not his. It's going to someone else. Maybe the butcher has, while he was cutting meat, said, school fees is a problem. Those problems, he would somehow find a way to talk about them, but you would find out eventually that, you know what, the car is not going to pick one of our cousins. The car is going to pick our neighbor's nephew from school. So nothing of his was really his. It was just for everybody. He was a custodian. Our home was always full of people, not even the visitors, but just those that we were taking care of. Whether it meant we would sleep 3 each on a bed, or we learned that you cannot be happy unless you're helping somebody. You can't be happy unless you're sharing. If you're not doing that, it doesn't matter how much you have, you're not going to be as happy as God intended you to be. So, thank you all for everything that you've done. We will continue to talk about more and more, but again, we have rules to follow. Even being here is a privilege. So thank you very much. Uncle Michael, come and take the microphone. Thank you very much yourself. Uncle Michael hasn't slept. I didn't sleep for a week when I was in hospital, but Uncle Michael has done the same thing. When I was with Daddy, I was hardly sleeping, but Uncle Michael has done the exact same thing. So thank you very much. I don't even know how we crossed. I don't even know how we crossed to get here. Yes, he didn't want to tell us, but okay. Thank you, children. We are running out of time. We're actually late. So we have like 2 more speeches, which will stretch maybe to 3. But please let each one of you spend no more than 3 minutes, otherwise I'll switch off the mic. Mr. Obo says there is something he forgot to ask. Let's give him a minute.
Thank you very much, MC. I just want to testify the selflessness of Tofa. One, about 3 weeks ago, my mother-in-law was in Zambia hospital. So Tofa went with my wife to the hospital in Zambia. They went up to the ward. When the old woman saw him, she was very happy. She recognized him, and yet she had been very, very ill. She has since passed on anyway. Then Tofa was so moved. He had 50,000 in his pocket. So he gave the 50,000 to the old woman. And he told me now, I had a dilemma. How would I reach the city center? I didn't have even a cent. Fortunately, one of my brothers-in-law, a priest, was there with the vehicle. He took him there. Then he told me when he reached the office, somebody just came and said, Tofa, I had this money for you, you take. That's how God rewards. When you give, God gives those who give more. God loves a cheerful giver. When you give, you also get. That is Tofa. When I was, another one, when I was in the hospital in Entebbe, he really showed us that he loved us as a family, me and my wife. He had grown to like KFC, so they bought him KFC. As he was eating, he took a piece and gave to my wife, said, eat it. She said, oh, maybe I can have it. He said, no, eat it now. She ate it. Then, at the end, he got a big piece, said, take this to Obo. Now, she brought the thing. But that was real love. This is somebody who's very sick and who needed it, but said, you take it. That was his way of expressing love. And my Lord Bishop, that was the last show to us. It was there after he was taken to Kampala, and my wife was driving Mama here to the hospital, following the ambulance. I remember one time somebody saying, they thought my wife, Teresa, was a rally driver at 140 from Entebbe to Kampala. She was making it. The other one, which I didn't say, I said Tofa was very well known in Tororo. He was equally known very well in Fort Porto, where I'm married from. There he has friends. There's a brother-in-law of mine whom he calls a bishop in making because he's a priest. Every time he says, how's the bishop in making? And then at one time, when we lost Kasigazi, they went to bury it somewhere on the hills. One of my brothers-in-law is a brother in the church, carried Muchala and put her on that military truck. So every time Tofa refers to him as the Kanyama who always carries Muchala. He was so loved in both communities, Fort Poto and Tororo, and indeed, as the children have said. Lastly, I want to commend in front of you all, Samwiri. Samwiri really did what nobody would expect. He stayed with his father in the hospital. He washed him. He fed him. When we would be there, as Mommy said, during the day, Samwiri was driving around for medicine, for food, for water. Samwiri, may God bless you. Thank you very much. And as someone said, you have entered Daddy's shoes. Remain in those shoes. The clouds, the sky is no longer the limit, as they say. It used to be the limit, is no longer the limit. We will be with you as much as possible, as God allows, but you have started on a very strong. Let's really thank Samwiri for what he did. Thank you.
The next speech from Honorable Wamanga is going to talk on behalf of the in-laws and as Tofa's friend.
Thank you very much, Lucy. My sister in love, Mary, the children and the family, my friend Bo and my own bishops. They call me Stephen Amwanga. I'm married to the younger sister of Mary. And as the mayor has said, I think I need to start with also my predicament with the family of the Marys. Because my mother was the same lady. My father was halfway, not the same. But I was a very good missionary, I was the same myself. But when I met my girlfriend, Goretti, I told my mother I had got a girlfriend called Goretti and my mother from the story. She said, she's my mother from the story. I said, yes. I had no problem. She's a religion. I said, she's Catholic. Oh. Why, I took a vision macabre. I said, Mommy, first of all, you were from a very staunch Catholic family in Shoroza. And my father converted you from Catholicism to Protestantism. So I'm just following suit. And my father looked at me and we laughed and we laughed. So my father said, my son, go ahead and marry your wife. That's a good your wife. Meanwhile, in Isoro, the father, my father-in-law, was also not happy that this young daughter was going to marry Umporos. Because I'm told that he said, those are not confusing of Korea. So I am here to present the in-laws. Our families have been very close. And I want to thank Mary and Kahirita for having made me access my wife, Naro Goretti. Because without them, I wouldn't have met her. She would have been somewhere, I was somewhere. But I thank them very much for being a good family. I also want to be very brief and say this, that really, God knows how to fix families. The Makore family, they were rulers, they were leaders. The one of the family, the great-grandfather of these people, the father, I think, of my mother-in-law, was a chief. And that's how, when you look at this family, really behave like princesses and princes and royals. Actually, they are royals. They are royals. The way I look at these, the whole rubber, they are also royals. What exactly hurts me is that our mother-in-law went to join her creator at the age of 98 to which only this month. So she had been staying with us for 3 years, and we were happy that at least she rested. She didn't die. In my view, that old woman didn't die. Okay, yes, Kahirita has died, but let us also celebrate his 80 years. When I'm looking at his picture on the face, you could see that Kahirita was a peaceful man. And I want to thank my sister-in-law. At the age of 80, your husband going as gentle and you know, she looks very innocent. Kuna mshaki hapa ina wrinkles. You know, when a woman puts on pressure, or when a man puts on the pressure, you die in wrinkles because they're always quarreling, always crying, you know. Mshakwa feel like a jet, but you see, they could never wish each other. So I want to thank you for your good family. You've been good to each other. So what happened was that actually we all went to bury our grandmother in stone. And of course, because we have not been very doing the SODs, they were made, because what SODs, SODs. We restored church, we were almost 2,000 people. And we family, almost 2,000, all of us came back sick. My family of 6, all of us fell sick. My wife, I discharged her, I said, go and stay in extreme corner there, about 10 meters. My daughter, another one, Kato, Kakuru, Tony, all of us fell sick. And we had to go for treatment. My Lord Bishops, I am telling you, I have felt sickness in my body. I have never seen the most painful thing like COVID. Because I didn't know it was COVID. First of all, I would sleep, and then, umugongo, ushawaite nyundo, batere nyundo umugongo, batere umaju, as if they had got a hammer and hit me. So when I started, when I was sleeping in my Zogoto, my wife was there, I was here. I would sleep that time. I sleep about half an hour. I find myself in River Nile. I said, what's happening? Great, what's all this? I saw my power go to me. Then I said, extend. I extended here. In half another time, I'm leaving Lake Victoria. Water dripping. So I said, Madam, please get out of this bed. You go and sleep on the mattress down there. I want to extend. I extended again. There was river Kajara. What's this? So I said, no, there is a problem. Let me go to Nakasero and they check me. Now, my own bishops, I had tested 3 times. In the last 1 year, I was negative south. And one thing I want to tell you, I am a coward. I have been testing medically for the last 5 years, from Canada everywhere, and I have all my records, all straight. And in all my records, I have really noting what is high, close, whatever. But what I want to tell you is that as they were testing me, and I was negative south, I came and I was watching something, and when I went to the hospital, and they said I was positive, I said, can be positive. In less than a month and a half, I've been testing, and I've been negative. What has happened? They tested my blood, and found out that there is something what they call C-reactive protein. A normal person, the range is between 0 and 8. C-reactive protein, Come on, testing my level is 122. I'm about finished. My level was 122. I said, but surely, since I got my immunization, is when this thing has gone up. Now, what I got 14 and 19, but I was later told that if I had actually not taken that immunization, I would have died. So that's why it had to go up to fight that virus. So this thing is real. It is real. My bishops, new people, let us be very protective. I can get MC before I even talk about Kahirita. He stopping me, but I think I don't want to waste your time. There's only one thing I want to tell you, that we've talked about Kahirita, all of us here. And let me comfort you with this consolation. I want to console you with that. When your day has come like today, the way I talked about Kahirita and others everywhere, how would you feel like they could talk about you? We must always look at our balance sheet. And what a preacher, you should look at your life, your balance sheet, or your life as you live. When you are born, that is your life opening stock. What comes to you in life is credit. What goes away from you is your debt. Your ideas are your assets. Your bad habits are your liabilities. Your character is your capital. Your word is your bond. Your happiness is your profit. Your misery and sorrow is your loss. Your knowledge is your investment. Your age is your depreciation. This is your closing stock of your life. So life is a journey, and God is your travel agent. Enjoy the trip on your journey called life while it lasts. Every life comes with this sentence. I want you to get this prayer from me. It's a simple prayer that I want you to show courage to change the things you can change. The wisdom to accept the things you can